afternoon and welcome to ATN Society Watch. This is a program where we ventilate societal issues, we give them aggregate attention with a view to preferring solutions that will benefit humanity. Let's go through the headlines. Viral story, Ned Woko clarifies age claims. Defamation, woman on trial over rape accusation. Insecurity, bandits kill father, rape teen daughter. Education, federal government cancels mother tongue as teaching language. We are open for sponsorship of this program, jingles and advert placement, news and events coverage, personality, society and political interviews, product service promotions, and commercials. You can watch us live on www.atlanticnetwork.tv. We're also on Apple TV channel 205, Limex TV platform, Ifestech platform, Apple TV, Niger TV, and Iroko TV. Connect us on all our social media channels. You can subscribe, like, and share. Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1. You can find us on X on Atlantic TV Net. We go on a break. When we get back, I'll introduce my guests. I will dive right into the reports. Please stay with us. Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. Here with me in the studio to dive into this report is Ehichoya Ikide, an OAP. We are so glad to have you join us today.
Oh, I'm glad to be on. It's nice to...
Let's get right into the discourse. Ned Woko clarifies age. Senator Ned Woko has addressed renewed controversy surrounding his marriage to Nollywood actress Regina Daniels, dismissing claims that she was 17 at the time of their union. In a statement on Facebook, the Delta North lawmaker said Daniels was 21 years old when they met in 2019. He explained that she presented her INEC voters card showing her date of birth as October 10, 1998. Nwoko said he retained the card as evidence and pointed to a BBC interview granted by Daniels' mother after their wedding, which also confirmed her age. The senator stressed that their marriage took place 6 years ago, making Daniels 27 years old today. He described reports suggesting otherwise as false and misleading. Woko further urged the public to disregard recent allegations linking him to Daniels' reported drug addiction and mental health challenges, insisting such claims are baseless. He advised the public to treat all such statements with caution until facts are verified. Regina Daniels and Ned Woko, they've been in the news for about 2 weeks just now, and it's been from, one scenario to another scenario, from the scenario that showed, her being, crying, sitting on the floor and saying she does not have peace in her husband's house, she's a queen in her house. It has, proceeded over time to this. What are your thoughts on this report?
It's a very interesting one, because it's been trending closer to a month now. I've covered it on my show as well. Now, every day there seems to be a new facet to this. There seems to be a new angle. Now it's that she was 21. People are stating, people closer to her insisting she was around
17
at the time. At the time, and he's stating that he has her INEC voter's card. If that is indeed the case, then he came with receipts, and that's one thing I seem to admire about him. Whenever he's making a statement, there seems to be some sort of physical evidence. While in the case of Regina Daniels, a lot of people are accusing her of throwing a lot of stories out there and seeing what sticks and grabs the most public sympathy, because there have been so many changes. Initially, she denied the drug use. Then she came out, she said he's responsible for why she's dependent on drug use, and she needed it to be with him. And there are so many facets. Even when her brother, apparently he's in prison in Nasarawa State, Ned Moko came out with the videos showing how he was moving around his house, threatening people, shouting, because for one time, because they told his girlfriend to leave the house, he came out and was like, oh, how will Ned Moko tell his own girlfriend to leave? How do you go into someone's house and tell them that, why would they not allow your girlfriend into their house? So he seems to just have a lot of receipts. So at this point, he seems a more credible source than Regina Daniels. And that's my humble take on it.
No, I mean, you have pointed out to the other angle as regards the drug intake. Let's talk about that. Now, he did make the accusation that he wants her well, right, so she'll be able to take care of her children. And when that report came out, lots of people were really on the fence with it, because I did talk to a guest of mine about it, and his assertions were, this is a ploy to discredit her and make her lose custody of the children. But, a few days ago, we got Regina Daniels come out to say, oh, yes, I do drugs, and so what? What do you think, looking at it, looking at the status of the people involved in this, in this scuffle? Regina Daniels is, she's been a child actress from a very young age, and she's grown into fame and has become the favorite of a lot of people. Ned Nwoko is a well-respected member of the Senate. When you look at the structure of those people talking about drug abuse, and NDLEA is just sitting by, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, first off, I was never going to believe Regina when she denied the drug use, because there are far too many videos on the internet released by both her and her brother showing her when she's either very high or taking something that will get her high. Seeing videos of her puffing, as they say. So the drug use was always there. It was always known. Now, when it comes to the caliber of the people involved, like you said, her husband is a senator, a sitting senator in Nigeria. So we tend to have this thing where the rules don't apply to you once you are past a certain bracket. So I'm genuinely not surprised that NDLEA has not said anything, because these videos have been online. If they wanted to move forward with an investigation, they would have done so a long time ago when she started making these posts. But she's a senator's wife. That's always going to be their first consideration. Maybe now that she and him are falling out, if he decides to reduce or remove his sort of protection over her, because obviously she's a senator's wife, if they move for her, he can make their lives very difficult. So if it gets to a point where he cuts ties and they go their separate ways, maybe to use her as a scapegoat, sort of, the NDLEA might come out and do like, okay, we're investigating Regina Daniels, just to sort of so that they are still active, that nobody's above the law, which unfortunately doesn't really seem to be the case. But, okay.
No, go on.
But yeah, the inconsistency again, you pointed out where she said, initially she denied. And she came out and was like, who doesn't do drugs? It's normal for people around my age bracket and things of that nature. She's making her life very difficult. Because now everything she says is people are reading between the lines. But Ned Nwoko comes out and he seems very concise, very straightforward.
Do you think that is because of her age and his age? I mean, life comes with experiences. When you have experienced life, to the point Ned has experienced it. You can compare, oftentimes you can compare the reasoning of someone that is 17 to someone that is 45, right? Except the person that is 17 is exceptionally gifted, and we do have people like that, right? But ordinarily, when you look at it critically, you say, okay, the pang of thinking on the 47-year-old should be way higher than the pang of thinking on a 17-year-old. Do you think that is why she has come out to make several unguarded statements, which, doesn't seem like she has good counsel, as it were, as opposed to Ned given his experience?
Minus the age thing, we seem to forget that Ned Nwoko is a lawyer. He's a lawyer first and foremost before he became a senator. So he knows how to arrange these things. That's why every time he makes a post, there's something physical, something tangible that people can look to. He's not just posting accusations. Now, for Regina Daniels, I believe she should have a better circle because it seems those around her cannot provide good counsel to save her life. Right now, first things first, in this situation, she's very distraught. Most of those videos should not have even been posted. The video of that night where she came out on the streets and the security were trying to get her back into the house, and where she made her famous statements, oh, in my house, I'm a queen. In Ned Iwoko's house, I am nothing. That video should have never seen the light of day because it was being recorded by her entourage. It was her people that recorded the video. It was those same people that posted it. A while later, I think she and Ned Iwoko had some sort of settling, and then she went back and was like, people should stop talking about her issues online. You brought it online. And a couple days later, she moved out of the house and started making posts again. So whoever is around her she should just cut as many people in her present circle off. Because the original video that started this whole conundrum was made by her friends. Right. It's all well and good to say you're recording to keep her safe. What's the point in uploading it? Because now you've uploaded it, you've put her out of the public spotlight. But regardless of how this thing ends, she's always going to get a lot of hate. She's always going to be known as that actress that used drugs and she ruined her home and things of that nature. So they've opened Pandora's box. You can't just put it back in. You can't just put something online and then say, oh, everybody, the internet, forget we posted this. It was, now just go back to your normal lives. Then the other time she came and she was saying, oh, she's suffering, that why are people sleeping when she's going through something like this? And you said we should leave your issue. Now you're coming out to ask Nigerians why they are sleeping when you're going through all this. What exactly does she want? I feel, yes, as she was 17 or she was around her teen years when she got married. But now she should have, at least, as a celebrity, you should have media training. You should know what to say and what not to say. There should be that sort of media training as a celebrity. Right. So I believe with her status, although unfortunately in Nigeria we don't care much about character, it's all about who has money and who doesn't. But if things were properly within her circle, she should have a lot of media training. The first thing she should have done was take away her phone. She should not be posting in that state. It makes no sense. But as Ned Iwoko described them, they are enablers. Whatever she wants, they are giving it to her when she doesn't need it, when she needs something else. So it's quite difficult. It's going to be quite difficult for her to stage a comeback from something like this because now everybody looks at her a certain way.
Sadly so. One more thing before we move to our next discussion. Now, over time, popular celebrities, and well, right, it's not every popular celebrity that is married to someone of the caliber of Ned Iwoko, being a current sitting senator. You talked about coming outside to air their issues. Why do you think we usually have that? We had that a little bit when Two-Face was going through his situation with his wife. We've had it with several other people. Why do you think couples don't sit down internally, try to fix their problems if we are unable to fix it? And I can point to one celebrity that seemingly was able to, nip that in the bud and manage it. I think that's Basket Mouth. When he fell out with his wife, Elsie, he was able to, they just came online and said, okay, we've splitted. Till today, nobody has the back end of what happened with the story, what caused the disruption. Why do you think, some of the celebrities in the public sphere and in public light are unable to reflect that sort of action and nip their challenges in the bud?
A lot of times it falls down to validation. Everybody wants to feel that they're the ones that are right. And what better way to feel like you're in the right than everybody telling you you are in the right? So with a lot of times when these celebrities, sometimes it's for clout. It's for clout, just to boost their fame with their marital issues. And besides, for an example, Will and Jada Smith, she has written books about the failures of their marriage. She's gone on talk shows about how she slept with her son's friend. They are wealthy. The money is not their problem, but that clout, she just wants to be. So I feel trickle is the same. A lot of times, it's either they're chasing validation or they want to use the story for clout. And it's unfortunate. It's like the example of Basket Mouth, where till today, nobody has the back end of that story. They kept it in-house. Whatever happened or didn't happen, they kept it between themselves, decided to part ways discreetly. And that's one thing a lot of people fail to understand. we can have falling outs. We are humans at the end of the day. It may not work out. But that doesn't mean that I have to trash you in the public space or I have to use your name to garner public sympathy. If it's not working out, we do our best to let each other go.
Thank you so much for your insights on that report. 29-year-old mother of two, Chisom Okonkwo, has been arraigned in Enugu for allegedly making false claims that her husband defiled their daughters. The case follows a viral social media post that stirred public outrage earlier this month. Chisom accused her husband, Okonkwo Ozioma, of sexually assaulting their two children and threatening her life if she spoke up. The husband denied the allegations and sought legal representation before speaking with police investigators. According to court documents, Chisom faces charges of defamation and providing false information to the police. Prosecutors said her actions damaged her husband's reputation and led to his unlawful detention. The charges were filed under the Criminal Code of Enugu State, which prescribes penalties for defamation and false reporting. Conviction could result in prison term. Legal analysts say false sexual assault allegations are serious offenses under Nigerian law. In some states, such as Lagos, false rape claims can attract life imprisonment or perjury charges punishable by up to 14 years in jail. Beyond criminal sanctions, victims of wrongful accusations may also pursue civil damages for emotional distress or reputational harm. This story broke a few weeks ago, and usually when the stories break, journalists, we want to serve the story as it is hot. Now, I was waiting for some form of confirmation. So I personally haven't discussed the story. So I mean, ordinarily, if I had, I would have probably been apologizing to the man just now. But I was waiting for actual confirmation to say, okay, yes, we have checked the children, and this man is now being charged. I was waiting for a furtherance of the, of the law. So as a bid to, get clarity before I post this. I want to know your thoughts on this. Then I also want to find out, why do you think the media now chases sensationalism instead of, the truth?
Well, first of all, kudos to you for waiting for more, to be done in terms of investigation before carrying the story. Now, when it comes to the media chasing sensationalism, it's just like you said, while it's hot. When news is hot, when you're the first to break it, people rush to your pick. You're the one that gets the most traffic. And nowadays, people care more about the traffic and the views and the clicks and the likes and the clickbaiting than actual journalism, which is quite unfortunate because journalism is one of the most respected professions in the world, and it should be treated as such. Now, when it comes to the story itself, it's unfortunate how rampant it is becoming. These kinds of accusations. We have a lot of people on Twitter going around making accusations. There was one, she said, she hadn't met the guy. This one was a separate case that happened some years back. She hadn't met the guy, but she went online and called him a rapist. Why? They were chatting. They're not even in the same country. They were chatting, and she said she got rapey vibes from him. I don't know what rapey
What does rapey
means.
vibes?
I don't know what rapey vibe means. Till today, I've checked ChatGPT, I've checked dictionaries. I have not still gotten the concise enough definition of rapey vibes. So she got rapey vibes from him, and the young man, due to the bullying and the pressures and her uncle constantly threatening him, he killed himself.
On Twitter?
He killed him, yes, on Twitter. He killed himself. He was in his 20s, early 20s, took his own life, because everybody was now calling him a rapist.
Did she eventually confess to say, okay, that didn't actually happen?
She never came out to make any. She just sort of wanted to bury it, so she didn't make any posts. It's just people that were tracking the cases of false rape accusers. An account dedicated his time to bringing up stories of false rape accusers and putting their names on a list. And the list it's genuinely bewildering. That now, because I think she said the reason why she did this was she wanted to teach her husband a lesson. Or some people are stating that she was sleeping with the landlord's son. Some are stating that he was a heavy smoker. So she said she wanted to teach him a lesson. But if you want to teach somebody a lesson, there are so many other ways to go about it than using his children. There were videos of her grooming the children saying, you say my daddy touched my bum bum on this day, telling them word for word what to say. They made a mistake, she would say, no, she'll correct them. That was even how she got this case to this point. And kudos to the police for actually following up, because most times what we'll have is Russian officers that just want to close the case and bag a rapist. And that's how they will just rush his case. Even on the day the video went viral, and this is coming for the police now. They were trying to force him to write a statement.
To write a statement, yes.
They were trying to force him to force words from his mouth to write a statement. That was recorded. That went viral. It was seen. So it brings the police and false accusations. We've had stories of people being forced to confess to things they have no knowledge of. Is that not proof of that? Whereby something has been recorded, people like, it's going to be posted, but we are still forcing this man to write a statement. I'm happy that he got, legal counsel that was smart enough to dig deeper, and that they found holes in the case, and that the man is going to face consequences.
Absolutely. Now, you were talking about when that video did trend about the police officers telling this man to write that statement, and if you recall correctly, he said, I did not do this. He said, do I smoke loud? Pardon my language, but I quote, do I smoke loud? I do smoke loud, but I cannot, molest my children, my little children. Let's talk about drugs. What role do you think, his drug abuse posed to this situation, as it were? Because she has claimed that the punishment was due to him being an abuser. He smokes and is an abuser of the substance. So she wanted to teach him a lesson holistically. This is not the right way to teach a lesson, right? But holistically, drug abuse. What are your thoughts on it as regards this report?
Well, if there's one thing I know about fathers and their daughters, it's the love between those two is rather quite strong. So whatever because it's I don't think there was at any point at which, when he was high or anything, he turned on his daughters. Right. Perhaps she just didn't like that he took those substances. It wasn't a case of him taking those substances and then turning on his daughters. That was not what motivated this. He took the substances the wife did not agree with. But now let's look at it holistically, like you've said. Drug abuse, it's a problem that has now become glamorized. Here every day you hear artists in music talking about puff and pass, or like you said, canna, pass the canna, things like that. We have movies that have normalized it. Throughout the movies, characters are smoking. It's just become such a thing that it's becoming so accepted that people don't see what's wrong with it. They don't see the harm it poses. But if we're bringing it down to the case now, yes, it could have affected him at home. If had it been the case where he took these substances and he turned on his daughters, or he were abusive at home, it's one thing. But when you say somebody is taking these substances, it's not as much as that's harmful, that's wrong. Why not speak to his parents? Oh, see what your son is doing, or tell him, I'm going to leave you, I'm going to get a divorce from you if you keep this up. Give him the opportunity. Because I'm sure they had prior conversations where she was like, oh, you have to stop this. You need to make him know that this is not working out for you. You cannot be with somebody. Because marriage, at the end of the day, shouldn't be, you don't have to die there. If you feel he's drug use and things of that nature, and you go to a court, they will grant you a divorce. Because they don't want children in that kind of environment. It's not a conducive environment to raise kids, especially if he does it at home. So if you wanted to teach him a lesson and move your family away from him, the courts were a valid option. You had every right, depending on his use and things of that nature. But again, back to the case of drug abuse, analyzing this holistically, it ruins families. It ruins families because drugs alter your states. It may not be a case of you're abusive. It might be a case of being there for your children and being there for your family and being a provider for your family. When you're high, you're making worse decisions, you're not thinking everything through. There are just so many negatives that, personally, I don't see the hype. I don't understand it. It smells awful. It hampers your cognitive abilities, and I always like to be at my cognitive abilities heightened. So personally, for the life of me, I cannot see why people do it. I cannot see why it's become so glamorized. But ultimately, there were so many other ways you could have left. You could have so many other things than to go down this route, because it's been months in the making. You took these kids, you were grooming them for a day when you would report their dad. Because had it been she hadn't prepared them, they would have just gone there and be like, no, daddy didn't do anything like that. But she just, day in, day out, she just be saying, okay, practice this, practice this, practice this. Ah, your daddy did what? Ah, he touched you. He did this again. Yeah, he did that. The videos are online where she groomed them. I think she was even recording them herself. I think they got access to her phone, and that's how they saw those videos.
How can this man and these children, now the courts did talk about people in the know of how the justice system in this regard works. They did say she could probably get life imprisonment if it was Lagos, but this didn't happen in Lagos. It happened in Enugu. Or she could serve as high as 14 years in prison. But that said, right, do you think that the trauma that this man has suffered and these children, do you think that 14 years or even a life imprisonment is enough for them to get over this?
Is it enough for them to get over this? I don't think it will be, because at the end of the day, the kids are going to grow up. They will see this story online. Most likely
so.
They will see what their mom made them. They might not remember it, but the internet will always remind them of it. They will grow up, they will see the videos of their mom coaching them to lie against their dad. 14 years, I don't think it's enough, because I think there are far too many people that have gotten comfortable with false rape accusations. There are far too many people. But I believe it's a step in the right direction. To show people that your actions have consequences.
Right. Now, you have just pointed me in the other direction where you talked about the rape accusations. Usually, Lagos State has have decided to enforce one of their laws that they feel they've left redundant for a while, where a pregnant lady, or a man is enforced to cater for a lady he gets pregnant, whether she's his wife or not. He's expected to provide for her throughout the duration of the pregnancy and a few years even after delivery. And when I saw that report, that bill, the insistence of that bill being enforced, it came to mind to say, what if someone claims, oh, I'm not responsible for this child? How do we ascertain that this child I'm caring for is actually my child? And relatively, we can draw a little bit of, that scenario into our current discourse now. For many years, women, when they talk about, abuse and rape, many people say, oh, don't include grown-up women. We can talk about abuse and rape for minors, because for women, it's pretty steep. Right. Why do you think we haven't really fully been able to draw the line as regards this, especially when it comes to adults? And yes, some adult women do get raped. Likewise, adult men do get raped, right? But I want to point you in the direction to say, even though we have a few laws as regards when a man rapes a woman, there are fewer laws as regards when a man gets raped. Right. Do you think that holistically, like the whole systemic structure as regards this sexual abuse, sexual violence, needs to work? A case came up a while ago where a man was raped by another man. The man that was raped is he's disabled. I think he has hearing and speech impairment issues. The person that raped him is pretty sane. But this trial went to court. And when the case went to court, everybody was eager to see this case, pick up and continue. Because according to the lawyer that let me in the know of this particular situation, she said that we do not have any laws guiding when a man is raped, especially, worse still, by another man. Right. So they wanted enforcement, but the father of the victim decided to pull the case out of court, so there was no judgment and there was no recourse. Now, when you look at this story and holistically, do you think that we need more structure to systemize this in a way that it fits everybody in? First of all, the person that is saying, I was raped, what are the checks we do to ascertain that that actually happened? so we don't leave people hanging the way this man was left to hang.
Oh, going back to the Lagos State issue, I think yes, that's very valid, because if you cannot, or if you do not plan on taking care of the child, then there was no reason why you and that woman should have been engaging in the intercourse.
What if you're not responsible for the pregnancy?
That's where DNA tests and paternity tests.
You'd have already catered for the child before the baby comes.
I think they're due to advancements in medicine now. While the baby's still in the womb, you can find out if the child is indeed yours, or if we don't have systems that advanced here in Nigeria, on the day the child is born, the DNA test can just as easily be carried out, and then ascertains, okay, is this child yours? If the child is yours, you continue down this path. If the child is not, then you are free from this financial...
So what happens to all the financial burden you have bared for the last 9 months?
I mean,
who takes the fall for that?
Would you rather have a case where you have to take care of the child till the child is 18? Or would you rather find out after 9 months? Would you rather spend what? That's virtually 19 years, because from the moment the child is conceived, up until the child is of legal age, that's almost 19 years of finances that you have spent to raise that child. So at the point you have to cut your losses. But if they really, really want to protect men, it should be a case of when this money that is paid to you over the course of that 9 months to take care of that child, as soon as that child is born, it's confirmed that that is indeed not the father, you have to compensate the man back in equal measure. In equal measure. But that's a tough push for men, because we're not exactly prioritized, and such is life. Women need a lot of protecting. That's why most laws, even the rape laws nowadays, they tend to protect women more. Now, I feel that, again, it comes down to a lot of stigma that people have. The National Assembly, they're not really ready to discuss these things, because just seen as men getting raped, come on, like that idea as a man, you can't be assaulted, you can't be raped, or even if you are, be a man. That's what you hear. You have to be a man. You can't tell anybody this thing. That even the self-pride. So I feel that's one of the reasons why a lot of people are not willing to have this discussion around this conversation around protecting men, because you're a man. And nobody wants to be the one to raise their hand and go against the wave and be the one, this voice that says, no, men suffer from this thing too. Protect us. And that's like, are you a woman or you be babe? What kind of talk is that? People will start to look at you a certain way, and that's why a lot of times, even there are a lot of victims. A lot of people come out. One made a post on X a while back. I saw it. He said how he was raped by his aunt growing up, and it happened multiple times. But he couldn't. And when he came out to speak up, like people, guys, women, they were bashing him on X. Are you not? I swear you did not enjoy it, or things of that nature. And he ended up deleting the tweets because he got little to no support. Every post was either blaming him, or either saying, did he not enjoy it? Or, you are lucky, I wish you... So many things of that nature. But when it comes down to women, it's always, oh my God, I'm so sorry you went through this, I'm so sorry you went through that. Rightfully so. They deserve the sympathy. They need the support. But the support should flow both ways. It shouldn't be a case of, you're a man, this thing, swear you don't enjoy it. Or how we have cases of whereby male staff sleep with their junior students, they're immediately labeled rapists and this. But then when a female staff, the headline is always, female lecturer or female assistant sleeps with male students, that slept with male students has been arrested. But when it comes to the male, the same headline, same voluntary act, it's always, male teacher raped or assaulted his female student. So it stems from a lot of things. It stems from the media. It stems from the fact that nobody's willing to have this conversation.
Right.
We as members of society, the way we look at men that come up with things like this, we've come to accept that, okay, yeah, as women, they are fragile, they need protecting, rightfully so, which I am in complete agreement of. But then when the conversation comes to men, it's always, you're a man, how did that kind of thing even happen to you? You did not beat the guy, you did not this, you did not that, or if it's I swear you did not enjoy it. Downplaying the scenario to a joke of sorts. So it's rather unfortunate, and I feel we need to start having those conversations, because only then, when we start having these conversations, will those people responsible for our laws start looking at it. Okay, we need to protect these men. If we keep acting like, as a guy, once you are attacked or raped or sexually assaulted in any way, it's your fault. The conversation is never going to get to that level where legislature rather will pass laws that will protect men, because they will always be seen as the joke. It will always be seen as that unserious issue. It will always be seen as this social issue that should be avoided at all costs.
Right. Thank you so much for your insight on that report. Widow residing in Plateau State, whose spouse was murdered by Fulani bandits, has recounted the harrowing ordeal of how 5 of these bandits gang raped her 13-year-old daughter in her presence, while her husband's lifeless body lay beside her. The woman shared her traumatic experience with our correspondent on Tuesday, stating that the Fulani bandits invaded her community in the Bawai district of Mangu local government area in Plateau State during the night, moving from house to house, slaughtering both people and livestock. The Fulani bandits, numbering over 100, attacked our community around midnight, going from one house to house, killing individuals, stealing our livestock, and slaughtering some of them, she said, adding that her worst fears were realized when the leader instructed her daughter to remove her clothing and lie on the bed, declaring that they intended to have sexual relations with her. I begged them not to defile my daughter, and out of desperation, I offered to be raped in her place, but they said I was old and they needed to taste a young girl. That was how the 5 of them gang raped my little girl, and even when she passed out, they still continued assaulting her. The most heartbreaking part of the ordeal was that they made sure I watched what they were doing, and every time I turned my face away, they would slap me and threaten to shoot me if I refused to look. For over 1 hour, I watched in horror as the animals took turns to rape my daughter. I mean, this is so sad, but this is not an isolated case, and I need to know your thoughts exactly on what we're doing with security in Nigeria.
When I went through this story the first time, I was unbelievably enraged. That's a very good question. What exactly are we doing with security? Because you can't tell this mother now that we are doing anything. You cannot tell, it's not even possible to have a conversation with this mother that anything is being done. She watched her husband get killed. They threatened to kill her. Then she had to endure over an hour of them. I cannot imagine it, because I have young sister, so I can't imagine what it must have been like. And I see my younger sister as my baby. So I cannot imagine what it must have been like for her to watch her child that she carried for 9 months, that she's taking care of for the last 13 years. These people just over and over, just repeatedly. She watched her daughter pass out, and they continued. It did not deter them, they continued. What exactly do you want to tell this mother that you are doing about security? Because these bandits have been operating for a while now, a long while. Maybe they had not visited her community, but she must have heard of communities around getting attacked. Her husband, the reason why they came for her husband is he was a vigilante leader, trying to put an end or to curb the crime of banditry. That's why they came specifically to kill him. They came specifically looking for him in that house, and they killed him. So people are taking laws people are having to take laws into their hands, but they are not equipped to take laws into their hands. What best they will have is probably a hunter rifle.
Right.
And how many people do you want these people coming loaded with the latest and greatest weaponry? How many people do you want to take out?
100 of them.
Over 100 individuals. How many people do you even want to, where do you even want to start? So when we ask the question, what exactly are we doing with security? And it brings up the conversation of why people are looking forward to the US actively coming into Nigeria. Because we're a sovereign nation. No other power should be able to come in and say they want to. Imagine America threatening to put boots on the ground, to curb our security challenges.
For us.
For us. They are threatening, we will come in there and we will solve the security problem because it seems you guys are not taking it seriously. Like people threatening you to give you money because you're not working hard enough. I'm going to be paying you this amount because I can see you're not serious with your life. That's basically what's going on here. But then when people start saying, oh, America is only coming for you, not your resources, they don't care about you. Look at Libya, look at other countries. How do you explain to this mother now that America coming to kill these people that did this thing to her child or coming to take out these people that did this thing to her child is wrong because they are coming to steal your resources? What good is the resource to her? Of what good is the oil that we say we have, or the natural resources or the mineral resources that we say we claim we are loaded with as a country? That's what America is coming for. How do you plan on telling this kind of person now that, because and there's so many cases of this where the attack in Benue State where about 200 people were killed that the president did a feast for. The woman, she lost her entire family. Relative, all her sons, her husband, she's the only surviving member of her family. How do you want to tell this kind of person that no, America coming after these people is a ploy for them to go after your resources? She will willingly give up the resources. Because she doesn't feel the impact. She lives in a low-end community. Her choice of livelihood is not the greatest. She most likely she's only limited to farming. The farming that she's been doing has been taken over by people and their cattle. These same people come into their communities to kill them. And you want to tell her or tell people like this that if world power coming to your countries means they are only going to pillage you, they don't care about you, but they will probably put it on their agenda to kill terrorists to gain your sympathy. So don't listen to them. How do you want to sell that kind of thing to somebody? If we're in a country where people can see the effort of the government to curbing crime, to stopping things like this. When that thing happened, the president went there and he organized the banquet. He never even got... People that got to... The very dark man was the one that went to the site of the... He was showing the bodies and the burnt bodies and the houses they've destroyed and things of that nature. The president went to Benue State. What did they do? They lined up school children in their school uniform under rain, holding placards, greeting him. Went for a feast, banquets, large portraits of the president hanging all around the hall. And you want to tell a woman that witnessed this thing, or families that witnessed this thing, that, oh, the US or China or whoever wants to come on board and help you, they don't really care about you. Do you care about me? That's the first question they will ask. Does my own government care about me? It's genuinely unfortunate. I cannot even begin to fathom what she's going through. She stated that the girl now, her condition is worse. Right. She's experiencing discharge. She can't control her bladder, all those type of things. And she's not a widow. She has said she has 2 sons in boarding school, and she's fortunate they were in boarding school. Otherwise, they would have been killed as well. So in that regard, she got fortunate. So what would have happened if they had killed all members of her family and then raped her girl, and now it was just her and her girl? It's the conversation around security. It's one that's non-existent. That's the best way to put it. It's non-existent because even when usually the president shows up at a place and gives directive, there will be arrest. There should be some form of movement from the military use. But the president said, he wants them to see arrest. From that day, since he left Benue State, there has been no update on, we've captured so people that are involved in that attack. We've done this to help the community. There has been nothing. Just silence. Everybody just moved with their lives. And the US, if there's a school shooting, they kill 10 people, is national outrage. Here in Nigeria, wake up, headline, 200 people killed. Oh, today again. Oh yeah, now, sorry. Swept to the next story. It has become that normal. The loss of life. If today in the US, 50 people were killed in one place, the mobilization would be crazy. Every single, whether police, whether military, the National Guard, everything will be mobilized. But nowadays, we wake up, 200 people killed here, 50 people killed there. Your president goes to the state and is talking about, vote for us in 2027. Well, we're not serious.
What is the hope for the common man? Should we prepare for the polls?
At this point, I would say the hope for the common man is God. because the people in charge, they seem less than interested. There's, I don't. Is there a word below uninterested? Let me. Disinterested is the best way to put it. With the loss of lives, with the rate at which these attacks are going on, there seems to be no. The military, when the U.S. came out with the statement that they released, our military started posting every day on Twitter. Today we did this operation, we killed 20 bandits here, we killed this one there. People started fact-checking these stories. Some of these stories are as old as 9-10 months ago. They were recycling to make it... So how do you... They were recycling these stories from 9 months ago to make it look like these are new wins. So what exactly is the hope of the common man, like you have said? Because now even the people that are charged with keeping people safe, the military, we have cases of terrorists being reintegrated into society, not just society, integrated into the military. Repentant, I don't know what word means, repentant terrorists. What does that mean? Repentant terrorists. Okay, fine, they're good, they're repentant. Why did they not go into farming? Why didn't they go into something, why didn't they go into woodworking? Why did they go into craftsmanship of that nature? Why are you putting them in the agency that is supposed to secure lives and property? People that, for the longest time, spend their lives destroying people's lives and properties. Now you are reintegrating them into society, not just society, you're integrating them into
the security
organization. That is just so. How sure are you now that these people do not share intelligence? Because soldiers say these things. Most of the time, we have cases where military barracks that used to be seen as sacred before are now getting ambushed. Just ambushed. Hordes of bandits go into military bases and just kill soldiers. How did they get the information of the military base? How did they get access to the military base?
Wow.
How were no soldiers prepared? When we have cases of repentance, that I don't even want to use that word, terrorists being reintegrated into, or being integrated rather into our military. So what exactly is the hope of the common man? That's why people are turning to places like the US. If you can see on Twitter now, a lot of people are calling for the US to actually directly tagging Donald Trump. And Trump is someone that is very, very active on Twitter. Very, very active on Twitter and Truth Social. So he sees these tags. When he sees the messages, people are saying, come in, invade, put your boots on the ground. Our government doesn't care about us. And you are trying to tell these people that, oh no, America coming in will subvert your sovereignty and things of that nature. What sovereignty? When we are overrun.
Thank you so much for your insight on that report. The federal government has now scrapped the 2022 National Language Policy, restoring English as the official language of instruction from primary to tertiary education across Nigeria. Education Minister Dr. Tijani Alaus announced the reversal at the Language in Education International Conference in Abuja, saying the mother tongue policy had destroyed the learning system and contributed to students' poor performance in national exams. He cited ministry research showing that pupils taught exclusively in local languages often advance through school without acquiring basic literacy and numeracy skills. Children graduate to JSS or SS level and fail WAEC, JAMB, and NECO, he said. Alausa noted that Nigeria's linguistic diversity made implementation impractical, with some states using multiple local languages that teachers themselves do not speak. This diversity requires a unified approach to language instruction, he explained. The SCRAP 2022 policy aimed to promote indigenous languages and cultural preservation, but struggled with material shortages, teachers' training gaps, and limited coverage. At the conference, British Council Country Director Donna McGowan said the forum would help improve English proficiency and explore how language supports inclusion and better learning outcomes across Africa and beyond. When you go to China, when you see footballers, when they're trying to do their interviews, most of them stick, basically sportsmen, let's use sportsmen. When someone wins something at the Olympics and he's been interviewed, he or she's been interviewed, you find out that most of them use their local languages and they usually have an interpreter. And that does not exclude the fact that they can actually speak English, but they will rather lean towards their indigenous language. When you look at that holistically, what are your thoughts on this report?
Well, I'm all for cultural preservation. We have a lot of languages in Nigeria that are technically now considered dead languages because...
What do you mean dead languages?
They no longer have a native speaker. when a language no longer has a native speaker, it is considered a dead language. And it's unfortunate that's what we have.
Can you reference me to one of those languages that are currently dead?
Okay, Nigerian examples, I'm struggling to, because I think there are some languages here in River State, some remote communities. We try to do something, what are those languages? Okay, but the most popular would be Latin.
Okay.
The most popular in the world, let's leave Nigeria, is Latin. Latin is considered a dead language. The Catholic Church still, at least across Rome, they still employ Latin, but there are no native speakers. People have to learn it from books and things of that nature. And it's starting to happen here in Nigeria. So I understand the need for cultural preservation, but when it comes across, WAEC is something that's written across Africa, West African Examination Council. Your students will obviously be at a disadvantage because when it comes to a lot of languages, there are certain languages that don't have English substitutes. So when students come across these words in exams, it's, what is this? I don't know what this is. Like, okay, say in Igbo now, there's no word for computer. So what the spelling is now is Komputa. They just try to pigeonize the spelling of computer, and that's how it's used in Igbo. So when it comes to these exams, your students will obviously be at a disadvantage. It's the same with a lot of Nigerian languages. There are words that have no direct correlation in English. But so what happens when your student sees this thing in an exam? They don't know what to do with it. That is the reason for, because they said they cited data as part of their reason for the statements they made about reverting back to English. So yes, we want to preserve our culture, but we also have to understand that we are competing globally. If it's a case where the language is taught, it can be taught, yes, all well and good. But if that has now become the language where every other course or subject is being taught in, it's putting you at a disadvantage. Yes, they can take up the language as a subject in itself, as a curriculum in itself. But when you now make all other subjects, because most of them, where do you even find teachers that have these languages or that know these languages and are willing to teach in this language? Because now you're converting notes from whatever source you are, because we still use the British curriculum in a lot of our schools. You're converting these notes, these textbooks, these study materials into that language first, before you can now enter a class and begin to teach. So the effort it takes, and then when you consider what our teachers are paid, which is virtually peanuts, but that's a topic for another day, the effort it takes to do that, you can't convince a lot of people that it's worth it. Then citing the fact that they are at a disadvantage because a lot of times, like I've stated, a lot of words don't have direct substitutes. People have something close to, fair enough, but there is no direct substitute. So your students get into the hall, people across Africa are writing it in a language that it is already in. So they are automatically at an advantage. They see the word, they know, okay, this is what this means, this is what this is. You've answered that question. But how do you expect a child that doesn't even know what it is to answer such a question? So that's the reason for the failure. So I guess preserving our culture is important. But everything we're doing, we're competing on a global scale. We need to keep that in mind. It's not just about Nigeria and preserving. We're competing. Our students are competing on a global scale. If you say you want to get rid of foreign-based exams or national exams like that, and make the exams regionalized or nationalized, then you might have better results, because now you're setting the questions. You're putting words that have direct correlations. But it remains to be seen. I mean, English has been the way it has been for a while now. That's the most spoken language in the world. It's the language everybody is able to converse in. If you cannot converse in, there's a translator that will help you converse in it. So yes, we should preserve our culture. Yes, we should speak our language as much as this. But when it comes to education, when it comes to standardized national and regional and African exams, your students will obviously be at a disadvantage.
Thank you so much for your insight on that report. And this is where we wrap it up on this episode of Atlantic Society Watch. Thank you, Yicheng, for coming on the show and giving us good insight.
Of course.
We're open for sponsorship of this program, jingles and advert placement, news and events coverage, personality, society and political interviews, product service promotions, and commercials. You can watch us live on www.atlanticnetwork.tv. We're also on Avo TV channel 205, Limex TV platform, Ifestech platform, Apple TV, Niger TV, and Iroko TV. Connect with us on all our ATN socials. Subscribe, like, and share. Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1. We're on X, on Atlantic TV Net. Remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Ataria Benjamin. Stay with us. Up next is International Tidbits.